Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It is hot this Labor Day. We are going to see temperatures ranging in the mid-90s. Coming up, I'll explain how the humidity will make it feel throughout this afternoon.
Also, from the airways to roads, Americans are bracing for record-breaking travel this Labor Day weekend. We're live at RDU International, where the TSA is keeping people moving through the checkpoints.
Plus, from cheers to tears, a couple's baby gender reveal party ends in tragedy. Look at this video. A pilot crashes shortly after helping the couple share the gender of their baby.
Right now, we have a live look at Carolina Beach, where people are soaking up the sun as we say goodbye to summer. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Keely Arthur in for Renee Chu. Thank you so much for joining us. In a few hours, they'll have to hit the road to prepare for a condensed work and school week. We're also taking a look at traffic at RDU, but we begin with meteorologist Peter Sherwood with a look at the grilling forecast.
You know, those temperatures are going to heat up for this afternoon, so if you are heading out, you got to make sure that you're staying hydrated. We're taking a live look at the Pinehurst Resort and Country Club this morning, where we are seeing a lot of sunshine and some of those golfers soaking up the sun. We have temperatures that are now feeling like the 90s for the 12 o'clock hour. It's 89 degrees in Raleigh, but when you factor in the humidity, it feels like 93, and it is feeling like 95 degrees in Fayetteville and Clinton this morning, especially in Clinton, where we have an actual air temperature of 86. It's feeling like 95. So it's getting toasty out there for this afternoon. And as we head into 3 o'clock, we will make it to 95 degrees, a feeling like 100. We're going to squeeze out 96 in the triangle for today. 96 for the high temperature in Fayetteville. You factor in the humidity, and those counties to the south will see those feels like temperatures in the triple digits. You got to make sure you're staying hydrated. We're going to see those numbers continue to increase as the week wears on. Coming up, I'll show you the day we could potentially see record heat build in across the triangle and when we can see our high temperatures back off into the 80s.
All right, thank you, Peta. Well, this is a live look at RDU Airport. Millions of Americans are traveling this holiday weekend, and record numbers of people have either hit the roads or hopped on a flight. WRAL's Shelly Jackson is at RDU monitoring the air traffic. And Shelly, how is it looking this lunch hour?
Keely, millions of Americans are trying to squeeze in that one last summer vacation, and so far, smooth sailing out here at RDU. Take a look at the board. On time, on time, on time. Down here at the bottom, delayed. There's about 16 flights been delayed overall this morning. No cancellations. TSA, take a look at this line. Not too bad for a holiday, but it is still early, just about noon. Now, TSA says it screened 2.1 million passengers Friday, 2.7 million passengers Saturday, and expects to screen 14 million Americans over 6 days. RDU says it expects about 225,000 flyers through this holiday. That's 31% higher than last year. Now, numbers across the board are higher than 2019 before the pandemic. Domestic and international bookings are also up. So it's fair to say air travel has rebounded strongly, and that has given a lot of travelers a little more confidence in the airlines.
A lot of more work to do. Yeah, it's just sometimes, you know, you just look at it and be like, are we ever going to be perfect? And we know it's not, but they really, really trying. They really, really trying.
And not everyone is flying. 95 million people are driving. And if you haven't hit the road yet, you better pack up that car, because the worst times to be on the road are between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Keely?
Great advice. Thank you so much, Shelly.
Meantime, if you're keeping it on the ground and driving, plan for some company out there. Roughly 95 million people will be getting behind the wheel this holiday weekend. WRAL's Brett Neese explains we are not seeing gas prices drop at the end of this summer as we have in years past.
Millions of people will hit the road today to head back from their Labor Day weekend getaways. But when they do, they will see near record high prices here at the pump for this time of year. Take a look. We're sitting at about $3.51 a gallon here in North Carolina. That's about what we were seeing this time last year. Across the country, though, we're sitting at $3.81. That average is near a record high that was set back in 2012 for this time of year. There's a couple of reasons that's happening. Usually we do see prices fall here towards the end of summer, but instead this year they are remaining high because of extreme heat, making it harder for refineries to produce oil. Another reason we're seeing these high prices is because OPEC, that's the group of countries that controls about 30% of the world's oil, they are holding back on supply in order to keep that price higher. In less than 2 weeks, the EPA will allow refineries to switch back from their summer to winter blends, and hopefully at that point, it will provide some welcome relief for drivers. In Cary, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And really, no matter where you're going, you can always find the lowest gas prices nearby. Search fuel on WRAL.com or the WRAL News app. And here's a bit of advice from AAA. Before you hit the roads, it's probably a good idea to inspect your vehicle because they anticipate rescuing roughly 300,000 stranded motorists. Some of the most common reasons: flat tires, dead batteries, as well as lockouts.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the Chatham County Sheriff's Office reporting that the body of a 13-year-old boy has been recovered from Jordan Lake after that teen drowned. Let me give you a reference point with the help of Google Maps. This incident happened at 5:30 yesterday afternoon at Jordan Lake's Parkers Creek Beach. According to the Sheriff's Office, there was no sign of foul play. The victim is identified as 13-year-old Kevin Lopez. He's from Locust, North Carolina. Again, that's in Stanley County. His death marks the 9th drowning at Jordan Lake this year. And the incident, the sheriff says, is another reminder about the importance of being vigilant when your family members at watering holes, or just practice responsible water safety at a time when so many people on a day like today are heading to pools and the beach. It's an important reminder that things can go wrong in an instant.
Very sad. Thank you, Ken. Well, a woman and 2 children are recovering from gunshot wounds in Goldsboro, and neighbors are demanding action. The shooting happened Saturday in the 2200 block of Day Circle. Investigators are trying to figure out if they were targeted by the shooter. WRAL's Keenan Willard is live in Goldsboro searching for those answers. Keenan?
Keely, people who know 34-year-old Sidell Horton and her daughters who were injured in this shooting say it all took place here on Saturday night, sort of in this corner of this complex on Day Circle. Goldsboro police say this is where they found 34-year-old Horton, who had been shot once, and her 12-year-old daughter, who was shot multiple times. Investigators say Horton's 13-year-old daughter later arrived at the hospital in a separate car with multiple gunshot wounds as well. Police say Horton and the 13-year-old girl were treated and released, but the 12-year-old has been taken to ECU Hospital in Greenville for her injuries. She's been listed as stable by police, and people who know the family say the girl needs surgery but is expected to recover. We've spoken to multiple people in this area who know both Horton and her girls. They say they still don't know what exactly led up to the shooting on Saturday night. Goldsboro police haven't said how this played out or what exactly they're looking for, whether they've identified any persons of interest in connection to this shooting. Now, at this point, we've reached out to police for any update they may have on this situation. They are also asking the public to come forward with any information that may lead to an arrest. Keely.
Thank you, Keenan. A new poll finds Donald Trump is widening his lead in the 2024 GOP primary. A new Wall Street Journal poll shows that 59% of Republican voters would choose him as their first choice. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis came in a distant second with 13%. Meanwhile, Trump's criminal indictments appear to help him gain that support. 60% of respondents see those charges as political.
When the world's top 20 economies meet later this week in New Delhi, India, they'll likely be doing so without Chinese President Xi Jinping. It would be the first time President Xi has skipped the gathering, with Chinese Premier Li Cheng taking his place. Xi has attended all other in-person G20 meetings since becoming president in 2013. President Biden says he's disappointed Xi is not attending the summit, but suggested he will be meeting with him in the future. Tokyo says it's being flooded with so-called nuisance calls from China since it began releasing treated water from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The discharge of decontaminated radioactive water into the sea started August 24th. By the end of August, the metropolitan government received about 34,000 calls from phone numbers with the Chinese country code. In most cases, the caller either spoke nonstop in Chinese or did not say anything.
The first week of college football season wraps up tonight in Durham, with Duke looking to pull a big upset. The Blue Devils are hosting the 9th-ranked Clemson Tigers. Now, Duke has not beaten a top 10 team since 1989 when they upset Clemson at home. Coach Mike Elko says if the Blue Devils are going to make history repeat itself, they need to play with discipline. That includes limiting penalties and turnovers.
If we can do those things and not make some of those first game mistakes, then in an opener you feel like you've given yourself a chance, no matter who you're playing.
All right, kickoff for tonight's game is at Wallace Wade Stadium at 8 p.m.
Durham's newest high school is ready for classes to begin this week. Northern High School finally got its occupancy permit. The main school will open for students and teachers tomorrow. The auditorium and athletic fields are still off limits, though. They are under inspection and waiting for permits. The new Northern High was slated to open when school started, but was hit with delays from the storm that knocked out power in Durham last month.
Next at noon, incredible eyewitness and disturbing video of a gender reveal gone wrong in Mexico over the weekend. What happened that killed that pilot of the plane?
Also, a small Pennsylvania community is told to lock their doors and stay inside. The hunt for an escaped convicted killer intensifies.
Plus, stuck in the mud, Burning Man in Nevada turns into Raining Man, trapping thousands of people in the desert.
Download the new WRAL streaming apps on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV.
Our new news continues now with breaking news. The former lead singer of the rock group Smash Mouth, Steve Harwell, has died. Just this past weekend, his manager reported Harwell was in hospice care. Harwell was the original lead singer of the group when it formed back in 1994. The group is best known for its songs All Star and I'm a Believer. And fans of the movie Shrek will remember that All Star achieved cult status after it was featured on the soundtrack of that movie. Harwell retired from the band back in 2021, and local fans will remember Smash Mouth playing at the Red Hat Amphitheater back in 2014 and 2015.
A gender reveal party turned into a tragedy when the pilot of a small plane died moments after this crash here, taking part in the festivities. It happened over the weekend in Mexico. The video was posted online. It shows the plane releasing pink smoke as it flies over the couple waiting in front of a sign that reads, "Oh, baby." The recording captures the moment the plane's left wing just peels back on that plane, appears to separate. It flies as the plane flies away from that group of people below. The pilot died on the way to the hospital. No one else on the ground was injured. Hundreds of people remain unaccounted for following the deadly fires in Maui. And now Hawaii's governor is urging people to file missing persons reports so that it can help investigators. There are more than 40 active missing persons cases, and the list of missing people compiled from federal and local authorities and Red Cross records stands at 385, down from a peak of about 1,200. The death toll remains at 115. The governor has asked the Attorney General to conduct a comprehensive review of the August 8th fires.
A Pennsylvania community is on high alert as the search for a convicted killer who escaped prison about 5 days ago. Now, this weekend, the fugitive was spotted on a doorbell camera not far from the prison. NBC's George Solis explains how law enforcement is working to bring him to justice.
This morning, the search for a convicted killer in Pennsylvania is entering its 5th day. In the air and on the ground, law enforcement officers are using every means available to scour densely wooded neighborhoods for 34-year-old Danielo Cavalcante.
K9, CERT, drone, aviation. We're trying to do everything within our power to ensure that we bring him to justice.
Over the weekend, a lead in the case after authorities say Cavalcante was spotted on doorbell video carrying a backpack and still wearing his prison-issued clothing. The sighting less than 2 miles from the Chester County Prison, where he escaped early Thursday.
Have there been sleepless nights?
Yes. I mean, of course, worrying about somebody that could come into your backyard and into your house. Of course, there's been sleepless nights.
We are requesting that residents in the area of Pocopson Township remain inside, lock your doors, lock your cars. He is still considered an extremely dangerous individual.
Police say Cavalcante has a violent history. escaping just 9 days after he was sentenced to life in prison for the brutal murder of an ex-girlfriend. Authorities saying he stabbed her more than 30 times in front of her children. He is also wanted for a 2017 murder in his native Brazil.
I would say we're very worried, very concerned.
Local residents on edge, police responding to over 100 tips, including possible home break-ins. As a precaution, some businesses in the area temporarily shutting down.
Have you seen anything like this before?
We have never seen anything like this before.
With the community on lockdown, police believe they are getting closer to the fugitive still on the run.
That was George Solis reporting, and authorities say after Cavalcanti murdered his ex-girlfriend, his family helped him flee. Investigators are warning his family members they too will be prosecuted if they're helping him.
4 astronauts are now back on Earth safely after a 6-month stay on the International Space Station. The members of the Crew 6 mission made the splashdown landing off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida, early this morning. The capsule deployed sets of parachutes to slow its descent. Rescue crews hauled the spacecraft out of the ocean and onto a special boat where final safety checks took place before the crew was able to get off. India's moon rover is now in sleep mode. The spacecraft was the first to land on the moon's south pole. It has spent the last 2 weeks conducting experiments. India's Space Research Organization plans to awaken the craft around September 22nd when the next lunar day begins.
Well, it is already very hot right now, and I think we're expecting to get even hotter later on in the day.
Yeah, summer is not letting go here, even if it is the unofficial end to it. Take a live look now. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is great. Boy, that is packed right there, folks, soaking up that last day before a lot of them head back to work and back to school.
I'm jealous of them, but I like being here too, so.
Oh yeah, no, hey, they've got nothing on our beaches.
They don't. Yeah, absolutely, PETA. And I know that you're saying people really need to find some sort of water somewhere to cool off.
Yeah, you know, make sure you have extra water in the cooler. Maybe you're hanging out by the water at the lake or at the pool. It's going to be a great day for that. It's currently 89 degrees. If you're getting those grills cranked up, remember the feels like temperature is hotter. So make sure you're staying hydrated. Even if you're the chef out there, you want to make sure that you have a lot of water in your system. 96 will be the high temperature today. Here's a look at how it actually feels, though, as you step outside right now. Heading to the backyard in Roxborough, it's feeling like 88, feeling like 97 in South Hill, feeling like 95 in Fayetteville with an actual air temperature of 90. And although our air temperature is around 87 degrees in Clinton, it actually feels like 95 degrees. It is hot out there for this afternoon, and we are seeing a lot of sunshine, so don't forget the sunglasses as well as the sunscreen. Here's a look at your lake forecast. I know you guys are heading out. It is going to be a busy day for a lot of fun outside. 96 will be the afternoon high around 4 o'clock. We will get our temperatures to fall off to around 90 degrees by 6 o'clock, getting down to 80 degrees as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. So it's going to be toasty out there. And when you factor in the humidity, keep this in mind, it will feel like 100 degrees for today. I do want to go ahead and point out that across the entire state of North Carolina, it's going to be hot today. It doesn't matter where you're traveling. Perhaps you're heading out to Asheville, or maybe you're heading home from Asheville and you're watching us online. It's going to be 90 degrees for the afternoon high, 91 for the high temperature in Wilmington and Nags Head, getting to 84 degrees today. We have high pressure that's in control right now, but that is going to move out. Ahead of it, we are going to see a cold front move in. Notice, or behind it, I should say, a cold front will move in. Notice ahead of that cold front, winds will be moving in out of the south, and that southerly flow will help us heat up as we head into the middle of the week. So 98 for the high temperature tomorrow, and the record is 97. We can shatter some record highs on Tuesday. By Wednesday, getting to 99 with a record high of 104. And while I don't think we'll actually make it to 104 degrees on Wednesday, it will certainly feel like it. Notice we have about 3 days with those feels like temperatures in the triple digits this week. You got to take this type of weather very seriously and again, take a lot of breaks from the heat. Above normal warmth will persist across the Midwest and the Southeast as we head into the middle of September. So we're not going to see a true break from the heat and humidity as we head into the next couple of weeks. So 99 on Wednesday, staying mostly dry. Rain chances picking up Thursday to a 20% chance. It's going to increase even more on Friday and Saturday with temperatures falling off to 88 degrees on Saturday, 86 on Sunday. Coming up, I'll have a look of a system I'm tracking in the tropics. I'll show you the likelihood we can see it develop into a tropical depression and storm.
Thank you, PETA. Well, there are potentially life-saving items around your home that you may not need or that may not work. See, this is my story, so you guys gotta watch this. 5 on Your Side has the 5 things to check that may expire. So we're talking sunscreen, smoke detectors, things like that.
All right, how about this? Luxury cars, extravagant meals, and trips paid for with money meant to help the poor get health care. Tonight at 5, WRAL investigates. Sarah Kruger explains the ironic twist that has a man convicted of Medicaid fraud wanting out of prison. Plus, still ahead this noon, Greece is capping the number of daily visitors to one of its most famous landmarks. The reason for the move after the break.
Plus, restaurants across the nation are trying to help older Americans combat surging rates of loneliness. How the program is serving up nutrition with a side of friendship. Welcome back. You are looking live at Virginia Beach. You can see all those people kind of squeezing the last days of summer. You are watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Later this week, we'll get a better idea of where our economy stands, and there are some great Labor Day deals today. Maribel Aber reports from the NASDAQ market site in New York.
The stock market is closed today in observance of Labor Day, but investors will be looking out for several key economic reports this week. July data on U.S. factory orders comes out later this morning with numbers on the country's trade deficit and jobless claims rolling out Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday, the Federal Reserve releases its July report on consumer credit spending. For the first half of this year, the Fed says Americans paid by using plastic to the tune of just over $1 trillion. With soaring interest rates and still high prices on daily basics, many people are using credit cards to float monthly household expenses. A chief analyst at LendingTree says this trend will only continue to rise in the months ahead. And the stock market closed up more days than not in its final trading week of August. But overall, all 3 of the major indices were down for the month. Something else that's down? Prices on thousands of products by major retailers hoping to hook customers with Labor Day deals, especially on electronics, appliances, and home decor. We've collected links to dozens of stores and sales at CNN underscored. And that's a wrap up business news. This Labor Day, I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ market site in New York.
Remote and hybrid working has more people moving to affordable communities farther away from city centers. A recent study by Fannie Mae found 22% of workers are willing to live a further distance away from their work and commute farther if they need to go into the office. That is up 14% just 2 years ago. And among workers 34 and under, there are 30% of them who are willing to move away from their offices to find more affordable housing. That is up 18% 2 years ago.
Starting today, Greek authorities are limiting daily visitors to one of the country's most famous landmarks. The Acropolis attracts visitors from around the world. Moving forward, visitors will be capped at 20,000 people a day. The site is open until 8 at night, but most visitors choose to visit it in the morning hours, creating big bottlenecks. Now there will be hourly booking slots, and visitors will be able to choose the time they wish to visit the monument and book their ticket online. Well, if you're flying in the next couple of months, it's going to be more affordable. According to the travel app Hopper, the average domestic airfare in the fall is down 29% from the peak of summer travel. That's also down 9% compared to last fall. International fares are dropping as well. Average fares to Europe in the fall are down 31%. That translates to about $330 a ticket.
Thousands of people are literally stuck at Burning Man after heavy rain created dangerous conditions. How organizers say those people are coming together.
And one local city is considering implementing a new curfew to help curb violence. The times children under 18 would be barred from public spaces. And here's a look at last night's winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Welcome back. This is one of the big stories of the day. At least one person is dead and tens of thousands are trapped at the Burning Man Festival in Nevada. Heavy rainfall turned the remote desert landscape into miles of thick mud and likened it to quicksand.
Yeah, NBC's Chloe Milas spoke with veteran attendees who say they've never experienced anything like this.
This morning, the harrowing escape to make it out of Burning Man.
The entire place is absolutely just soaked.
After 2 days of heavy rainfall left more than 70,000 trapped in thick mud in the middle of the remote Nevada desert.
Driving a vehicle right now is impossible. There is absolutely no way you can move a vehicle through this right now.
The local sheriff's office now probing the death of one person during the rain event. The cause still under investigation. But the festival says the death was not storm-related.
I think I could be trapped here for a couple more days.
The unprecedented downpour started Friday. Festival organizers telling burners to shelter in place and to conserve food, water, and fuel while closing roads both in and out of the playa.
Did you all know that this was likely going to happen?
We get a daily weather report. There was no cause for panic.
Burning Man CEO Marianne Goodell telling me the self-reliant community of burners came well prepared for desert extremes.
We've made it really clear that we do not see this as an evacuation situation and that the community is patient and the water is drying up.
The sludge not stopping some from making the treacherous journey by foot.
We took everything we needed to survive on our backs.
Desperate to make it back to their children at home, Bear Kate and his wife walked 6 miles to the nearest open road.
There were actually rivers that were flooding through the playa where we had to test and see how deep they were. My wife was carried across the river by a very strong man who carried her on her back.
Some celebrities literally following in their footsteps.
We walked 3 miles now. We got, I think, 5 more.
DJ Diplo and comedian Chris Rock also trudging through the mud for miles before being rescued by Good Samaritans. Back at the camp, trapped burners coming together and holding on to hope that the weather finally clears in time for the annual Burn the Man finale, proving nothing can extinguish the spirit of this decades-long movement.
He said it got cold there overnight, too. That was Chloe Milas reporting. Here at home, the Chatham County Sheriff's Office suspects foul play in the death of a woman whose body was found in Jordan Lake last week. Several people say they know who she is, but authorities are waiting on a positive ID. Saturday, the Sheriff's Office released this image of the woman, described as being of Hispanic, Latin American, or Middle Eastern heritage. A boater discovered the body Tuesday afternoon near the Farrington Point boat ramp. She was wearing blue jeans, a gray shirt, and a pearl necklace.
Our county by county coverage takes us to Orange, Chatham, and Cumberland counties. In Chapel Hill Transit is looking for your input in the design of 17 north-south bus rapid transit stations, or BRT. The north-south BRT is a bus system that will offer faster service than a traditional bus, with a lane designated only for BRT use. There are 3 options for open workshop to give your input to. That's tomorrow or Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. or Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m. Children are welcome and snacks will be provided. For event details and the 3 meeting locations, you can just visit nsbrt.org.
In Cumberland County, Fayetteville city leaders will consider a curfew for minors at a work session tomorrow. Council members say the Youth Protection Ordinance is designed to reduce juvenile crime rates. Anyone under the age of 18 will be banned from public spaces from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. on weekends and from midnight to 5 a.m. on weekdays. The work session begins at 5 p.m. Voters are now required to show photo ID to cast a ballot here in North Carolina. The Chatham County Board of Elections wants to make sure you know the new rules. It will host a voter ID information session Wednesday at the County Agriculture and Conference Center from 10 a.m. to noon. The board will go over acceptable photo IDs and exceptions and answer any other questions you may have. You can stream the meeting online. The link is on the calendar event on the Chatham County website.
Restaurants and nonprofits across the area are joining forces in an effort to address the nation's ongoing loneliness epidemic. The program offers older Americans a place to get some free food along with a large side of socialization. Jackie Ibanez takes a closer look.
It might just look like an ordinary meal. But besides food, some restaurants across a growing number of communities nationwide are serving up smiles as they partner with local programs to help aging Americans combat surging rates of loneliness.
Since the pandemic, isolation of people 60 and older has gone up an unprecedented amount, 200%.
One initiative in particular underway in New Hampshire is called the Dine Out program. It's run by the Hillsborough County Meals on Wheels and aims to entice people 60 years old and up to leave their homes for free food and fellowship at select restaurants.
Our dietitian works on a menu, and seniors 60 and older can sign up at no cost and get a Dine Out Club card. Go to one of these participating restaurants, order a nutritious meal, and socialize.
Earlier this year, the U.S. Surgeon General said feelings of loneliness can be as bad for your health as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day.
I had just moved into my apartment after having my house for 30 years. I was sitting there and I'd watch TV, eat. It was kind of lonely.
Some participants say the opportunity to get a free, nutritious meal is already helping them establish better social connections, avoid some financial stress, and even lose weight.
That was Jackie Ibanez reporting. Restaurants in more than 24 states have already partnered with Meals on Wheels or similar nonprofits as they help fight that loneliness.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, new developments about that expired Ukraine grain export deal. Earlier today, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan met with Russian President Vladimir Putin. After that meeting, Erdogan says the grain export deal could be restored soon. That allowed Ukraine to export grain and other commodities from the Black Sea ports despite the ongoing war. Now, back in July, Putin refused to extend that agreement, which was brokered by Turkey and the United Nations. Putin claims a deal to lift sanctions on Russian exports was not honored. In today's meeting, Putin wants the West to stop blocking Russian exports. The UN as well is seeking a compromise to get this deal restored. The results of this deal and others could have far-reaching effect on the world food supply.
Well, just ahead, putting the brakes on drunk driving at college campuses, the ride-sharing discounts students can take advantage of.
We'll also tell you which drug shortage is being linked to a surge in counterfeit pill-related deaths. 3 organizations are coming together to put the brakes on drunk driving on college campuses. Anheuser-Busch is helping Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Uber launch the Decide to Ride campaign nationwide. The goal is to get students over 21 who choose to drink to have a designated driver, use Uber rideshare discounts to get home safely, or use public transportation.
3 doctors who say the FDA overstepped its authority in a campaign against treating COVID-19 with ivermectin can move forward with their lawsuit. The drug is commonly used to treat parasites in livestock, but it can also be prescribed for humans. Now, some conservatives, you'll remember, championed it as a treatment for COVID-19. The FDA has not approved ivermectin as a COVID-19 treatment because studies have proven it's not effective. And deaths from counterfeit pills aimed at treating ADHD are on the rise in the U.S. About 3/4 of those counterfeit pills involved in drug overdose deaths were meant to look like oxycodone. Overdose deaths involving counterfeit pills were consistently most common in Western states, and they rose faster than averages in recent years, tripling from about 5% in mid-2019 to nearly 15% at the end of 2021. The DEA has said that the vast majority of counterfeit pills brought into the U.S. are produced in Mexico.
Here's a tribute fit for a queen, how royal watchers chose to honor the memory of Queen Elizabeth II.
Plus, a minor league baseball team wants you to be a real hit with your family and friends. The one-of-a-kind offer that's perfect for anyone who dreamed of being a professional baseball player.
Labor Day signals the end of Hollywood's summer movie season, and there's a new #1 at the box office.
All right, Denzel Washington's latest performance in The Equalizer topped the box office with $34 million, and Sony expects the holiday total to rise to $42 million by the end of the holiday weekend. Rick Damigella spoke with the film's director.
Denzel Washington heads to Italy in The Equalizer 3.
9 seconds. That's what I'll give you to decide your fate.
The third and reportedly final film in the trilogy places Washington's character Robert McCall in a different situation than previous movies.
The journey wasn't just, Robert McCall helping someone. It became more about Robert McCall helping himself as well.
Because of these people, I'm beginning to understand real peace. And I'm starting to believe this is where I'm supposed to be.
Director Antoine Fuqua says the character's humanity is the key to the intense action sequences.
The scenes that he's not fighting anyone, where you see the humanity, where he just feels like you or me, you're sitting having a coffee or a tea, or, him talking to people. There's nothing flashy and special about him as far as you could see. He just seems just like a regular guy. So I think that's why the fight sequences feel more on edge and tense, because he feels human, like he can be hurt.
Whatever it is you and your friends do it somewhere else.
You warning me?
I'm preparing you. Is that a Timex?
No, it's a boot.
That's the median nerve that I'm compressing. That's a level 3. You don't want it to go to a level 4.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Barbie kept a firm grip on second place this weekend, adding $10.6 million to her box office haul, which now stands at $612 million domestically. Warner Brothers' other main movie, Blue Beetle, added $7.3 million to take the third place spot. The DC superhero film has grossed $56.6 million in 3 weekends in North America.
Organizers held a special parade outside Buckingham Palace to remember Queen Elizabeth II nearly a year after her death. Yeah. Dozens of royals dressed their corgis in crowns, tiaras, and royal outfits for a walk outside the palace. Corgis were the late Queen's constant companions since she was a child. She owned 30 of them throughout her life. Generations of the dog descended from Susan, a corgi that was given to the Queen on her 18th birthday.
Well, whether you have a corgi or any other four-legged friend, you might want to bring them out for the walk and then bring them right back in. It's going to be so hot for not only humans, but our little pets as well. PETA joining us now.
Yeah, you want to test that pavement before you head out for your walk this afternoon and make sure it's okay for them to walk on. We are seeing a lot of sunshine this morning all across the viewing area from our WRAL live cam network this afternoon. I do want to go ahead and show you why. High pressure is in control. That high pressure is allowing us to see that sinking air. That is why we rarely have a cloud out there for today. We are seeing temperatures, though, hot in the 90s and the 80s. 90 degrees in Fayetteville, and it's 88 degrees for Sanford, 89 for Rocky Mount. And as we head into the afternoon, we are going to gradually climb into the upper 90s in some spots, getting to 96 degrees today. It's going to be a hot day out there on the golf course. Temperatures for this evening will fall off into the 80s, getting down to 82 degrees by 8 p.m. Likely to see a high temperature of 95 degrees in Durham, 96 in Fayetteville. You factor in the humidity, areas to the south will have a better chance of seeing feels-like temperatures in the triple digits. And we are going to keep that going as we head into the middle of the week. Here's a live look at Carolina Beach. And if you're watching from home or you're here at WRAL, looking at this, and it's just so gorgeous out there. Mentally, I'm there. And we are going to see the rip current threat elevated today. So keep that in mind. If you're not heading out to the beach today, it's probably a little too late to make that day trip. But if you have friends and family in our northern beaches, just go ahead and give them a call. Let them know life-threatening rip currents will be possible today. I want to focus on the tropics here because we have a couple of areas that we're watching very closely. Katia is now a tropical depression that is going to continue to lift to the north into some cooler sea surface temperatures where it will continue to weaken. Let's talk about this tropical wave that's showing signs of development, becoming a little bit better organized at the moment. We're now seeing with this the probability of it developing at a 70% chance in the next 2 days and then a 90% chance within the next 7 days. We are going to watch this system move into an environment where it will have a better chance of developing into a tropical depression by the middle of the week. As we head into the end of the week, we could potentially see a tropical storm form. The probability of that developing around 85%. Notice this is the Lesser Antilles, and this storm system is likely to move close to the Lesser Antilles. But as we take a look at a lot of those model plots, it's taking it into the Caribbean, and some of them are taking them to the north. We are going to continue to monitor that. It's just way too early to tell if it's going to impact us here in the U.S. Otherwise, it's hot, heading into the upper 90s for this week, and we are likely to see rain chances increase into the weekend with highs in the 80s.
All right, thank you, Peta. Well, you could have full access to a baseball stadium. It's thanks to Airbnb, but we're going to tell you how much that ultimate baseball experience is going to cost you.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. A 13-year-old boy drowned in Jordan Lake. Chatham County officials recovered the body of Kevin Lopez yesterday. The boy, who was visiting from Stanley County, drowned off Jordan Lake Parkers Creek Beach around 5:30. There are no signs of foul play. This is the 9th drowning in Jordan Lake this year.
The former lead singer of rock group Smash Mouth, Steve Harwell, has died at 56 years old. Just this past weekend, his manager reported Harwell was in hospice care. He was the original lead singer of Smash Mouth when it formed back in 1994, best known for the big hits All Star and I'm a Believer. He retired from the band in 2021. Smash Mouth actually played here in Raleigh at the Red Hat Amphitheater in 2014 and 2015.
Millions of Americans are traveling this holiday weekend. Record numbers have hit the roads or hopped on a flight. At RDU, things are running smoothly so far today. Just one cancellation. RDU says it expects about 225,000 people to come through this holiday, up 31% from last year. 95 million people chose to drive to their destinations. The worst times for traffic will be between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. today.
A drunk driver unwittingly handed himself over to police in Nebraska. This all happened when the driver called in to report someone else traveling in the wrong direction, but he was the person in the wrong lane.
I'm on Highway 77 going north, and there's somebody that is on the wrong side of the road.
And then did you see what color or type of vehicle it was?
No, he had his brights on, man. He almost ran me off the road.
Okay.
Well, at least he called the police, right? Deputies shared the recording of the bizarre incident. During the call, the driver gave officers clear coordinates to where a collision almost happened because of that, quote, wrong way driver. Thankfully, deputies arrested the man before anyone got hurt. The driver's blood alcohol level was twice over the legal limit.
Baseball fans can take a swing at a great vacation rental in Florida. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos are offering up the entire ballpark to fans to rent on Airbnb. Renting out the stadium will cost you a little over $5,100 a night. It comes with 2 queen beds, 4 bunk beds, and unlimited ballpark access. That includes the batting cage, on-field practice, clubhouse TVs, even the meal menus. The Wahoos are the Class AA affiliate of the Miami Marlins.
And our pet of the day comes to us from Love Mutts. This is Milo. He's 52 pounds. He loves to stay active and would be the perfect companion.
All right, plenty more to come. NBC News Daily is next.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.